What is your biggest weakness? Well, with the economy the way it is, and a lot of people are getting laid off, there's going to be a lot of people in the job market trying to look for a job. And it's that question that everybody hates to answer. What is your biggest weakness? And most people do not like to answer that question because it can give off a negative tone to who you are and maybe not present yourself to your employer the way you would like. And so you're thinking, if I tell them what my biggest weakness is, they may not hire me. But the first thing and the most important thing that you need to know is that your new employer just simply wants you to be honest about your limitations. And so if you make yourself seem like you're just too perfect, uh, you're probably going to end up hurting yourself because it's going to seem like you're lying and you're not being truthful with the interview. So take a breather, think about it, and just give an honest answer as to what is your biggest weakness. Ultimately, they're trying to see whether or not you are self aware about yourself. Do you really truly understand who you are? Because how is anybody else going to be able to take you if you don't know who you are yourself, right? And then if you can actually execute a plan as to how you're working towards handling your weakness. I remember when I was at the cab company and I was the operations manager, I had to do a lot of interviews in order for our staff. Drivers, not so much. It was basically giving them a class, and then if they wanted to do it, we gave them a try. We taught them how to get out there and work and what to expect and where to be at in order to make their money. But for the office staff, no, those were definitely interviews. And sometimes I would have to go through 50, 60 people in a week in order to see if they were qualified. Most of them wouldn't show up. I mean, you would have a good little bit that came, but yeah, it was something else, right? Um, but it's always that tension when you're going in front of your future employer. One, you're nervous because you don't know if you're going to say the wrong things. So just having self-awareness about yourself, and making sure you presenting yourself to the best ability, because sometimes you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Your answer in that question is that you're not really good with people. Well, unless the job is a solo job and you're not actually working with anybody like employees as well, not just clients, because you have your internal clients, your external clients. That wouldn't be something you would want to say because it's going to throw up all kind of flags to your employer that maybe this person isn't a good fit for the job. Response you probably don't want to do is say that I have issues with multitasking. Well, that's kind of what an employer is looking for. Someone who can take on quite a few different um, duties and then do it effortlessly. Now, of course, they'll give you the little learning curve when you first get in there, but if they already know coming into it, you can't multitask and you have to be, you know, focus on just one thing, you might be hurting yourself. So if that is your weakness, keep it to yourself. Good at timekeeping. You're not? Ooh. Well, if you're not good at timekeeping, then maybe we shouldn't hire you. Because, of course, every employee wants to make sure that that employee, ideal employee that they're looking for, has and knows how to handle time management. So, the more organized that you can seem to your employer, the better chances they're willing to take a chance on you. A couple of tips just along the way, just give you a little refresher. Remember, always give an honest weakness, not one that's going to shut you down, and always offer a way of how you can improve on your weakness. And then there's the I don't have a weakness. You don't. Hey, so you're not human, right? We all have weaknesses. You just don't want to make your weakness cancel you out for the job. Here's a little bit of an example that might be able to help you with this question. You could give a weakness like, hmm, sometimes I might struggle to let go of a project because I'm just so dedicated to trying to get that project done because I just want to make sure it's perfect for my employer. That's a good weakness. All right. And a good way to show them that, hey, this is somebody who is dedicated to what they're doing. Response could be is I have difficulty asking people for help. Like sometimes I could be a little too self-independent and I feel like maybe I shouldn't go out and ask that person for a lending hand to kind of help me along the way. But that is definitely something I'm trying to work on, and I will improve in time. Trying to be a perfectionist all the time, sometimes I pay a little bit too much attention to detail. So I know some people that might be rub them the little wrong way, but it's just me, and I'm working on it. I'm gonna get better. If you never really held a managerial or supervisor position, then maybe you could use this one. Well, I'm not really good at giving feedback to people because sometimes, another tip, I might be a little judgmental. So, and that's probably just because I never really held a supervisor position, but I will develop my skills on how I talk with people and look at certain matters, and I will work on that moving forward. All have stress, so definitely a good weakness could be I get a little stressed sometimes when I'm running over deadlines a little bit, but I got a plan that typically calms me down and kind of get me refocused on things. And then there's always the famous, I have a hard time telling somebody no. And sometimes that put me in a little bit of a sticky situation, but it's just my nature of like to help people. It shows that you're not selfish and you're willing to lend a helping hand. Good one. If you never been a supervisor or ran a company, you can also use that as a weakness because you never had any type of supervisor role. And so you can use that as a weakness that maybe right now I probably wouldn't be good for a leadership position, but I am a fast learner, strength. I am a fast learner and I will really dive into whatever it is that I'm doing. And hopefully one day I will be given the opportunity to show that I have improved on my leadership skills. Now, speaking in front of others could be really stressful for a lot of people. So, another way that you could say that you have struggles in is actually presenting yourself to um, a large amount of people, like in front of people. So you have a hard time talking to people up front because get a little nervous, um, and that could be uh, good weakness to use because maybe it doesn't have absolutely anything to do with the job that you're getting, but it's showing that you're struggling with something. So these are just some helpful tips that you can use when you're on an interview. Um, and how to handle yourself and how not to handle yourself, just from my experiences as an operation manager at a transportation company. You can use any of those if you're having issues when you're going to, if you can't figure out what to say for your biggest weakness. Now, we were talking about life. Now, ooh, I got some weaknesses in life. But that's a story for another day. As always, be your brothers and sisters keeper. Keep God first. And toodles. And oh, good luck on your job search. You're going to get it. You're going to do great. All right. Toodles.